States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright. Welcome to our August meeting. You all had a chance to look over the minutes.
I have, and I'll move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second that motion.
All in favor? Alright. Next up we have the Boys and Girls Club.
That's me.
You want your seat back?
Sure.
I'll trade with you.
I agree together.
When it stops,
Or you can
I just know I am.
hopefully no one else puts it over me.
do this together.
One more person.
We'll just play musical chairs.
Yeah.
We're wearing a lot of hats.
Music's
Well, I
done.
didn't say no.
That we all put our hands in the air, right?
Thank you. She's not here.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, my name's Sasha Backus, and I work at the Boys and Girls Club. I've been there for a few years now. There's been a lot of great changes happening here, especially lately. And so that's why we're here to request some funds. We are requesting $20,000. Gonna just give you a little overview about some things that we do at the club. First of all, our summer hours, we were open from 7 to 5:30. Average daily attendance was about 65. And we provided the kids with lunch and snacks. And there were a lot of times that staff pitched in to give the kids breakfast food also. This summer, we had Rick Copeland with Purdue Extension come to the club, and he taught some Learn, Grow, Eat, and Go classes, which was an amazing opportunity for the kids. We were able to get enough donations from the community and also a lot of friends, family, and just other little businesses pitched in, and we were able to have our own raised garden bed. And we've raised cucumber, squash, tomatoes, and lots of things, and that was just a great experience for them. We had a lot of great activities this summer. Anti-bullying week, we had emergency services week, where we brought in an EMT, flight nurses, police officers, firemen. We had just an outstanding week teaching the kids about different careers and just trying to encourage and motivate them. And also just get closer to people in the community. We had an amazing anti-bully week. Really focused a lot on trying to get away from bullying and just encouraging the other kids in every way that we could. They're different skills, there's different things about them that are amazing. We had a Careers in DNR week, and that week we had people from Clifton Park come. We had Birds of Prey, the kids got to touch a snake. Like they learned a lot of different careers about in DNR, and a lot of them didn't know about these careers, and they were really inspired and had a great time. We had an amazing summer. We had an NBA player come in, we had an Elvis impersonator come in and open the eyes to a lot of kids there with different things. And we had theme days every day that the kids were excited to come every day, dress up, do different things. Along with that, a lot of different themed activities. Our after-school care just started this week, and we're actually, there's a typo there, it's supposed to be 2 to 6 p.m. Our average daily attendance is about 125, and we have been getting new people signed up on the daily. We do give them a free snack. Some of our after-school programs, we have Smart Girls, Passport to Manhood, Triple Play, Healthy Habits, Power Hour. All of this really circles around self-esteem, just physical activity, just empowerment, like, just good nutrition, teaching responsibility, character, Um, and then, and book club, cheer club. Also, you know, we have had sports programs going there for years and years. Wrestling is such a huge thing there that brings so many people in from surrounding counties, volleyball clinics, basketball leagues, t-ball clinics, indoor soccer. We just have so many people coming in from all areas over in Kentucky that we have a lot of people coming in. There's soccer, indoor soccer that we've done, coaching clinics. We have a special event coming up. It's the 38th Chelsea Bassmasters Fishing Tournament this weekend, which is an amazing event that I have talked to so many people about, and they just have memories that have lasted them a lifetime. And they get a free rod and get to go fishing with some amazing people, and it's just a great event. This summer, on our fashion day, we had a clothing drive. We were able to help get some kids some clothes, and we had a great open house, brought new people in, and we've been getting out to schools for registration to just get more people in the doors, and our numbers have been rising. I was working at the club when COVID hit, and it was tough. As stated here, we were the only public service public youth service that was open that year. Like, we only closed 1 week when a staff member had tested. Actually, one of their family members had tested positive. We had to just do a deep cleaning, and so, you know, it was tough trying to learn how to keep kids 6 feet apart and keep their masks on, and it was a tough time. And we had 3,000 hours, in additional staffing that we needed, plus supplies and utilities to keep things clean. We were looking around $60,000 in additional dollars, and with us, everything being so restricted during that time, we missed out on, I think it's even more than $25,000 in fundraising opportunities, because we have so many fundraising opportunities, pub crawl, golf scramble, there's just numerous, but that hurt us. And then, let's see, like at Christmas time, we had a toy drive, and this community is just simply amazing. We put out that we needed toys for the kids. We got more than we requested, and then people were pitching in money for us to help low-income families. And I was the lucky one who got to present those families with some money, and that was amazing. We had a member there who, him and his family were living in their car. I knew I'd do this. We were able to help them. And they have a home now. We were able to get them beds. And they're doing really well. I'm sorry. These kids mean a lot to me. So, we've served in the last year over 1,000 kids through our different sports programs, after school care, and so we're wanting to expand our programs and continue to grow. But in order to do that, we do need help. We need funds to get a full staff in there. That's what's going to help us get to the point we need to, where when we're fully staffed and we can have, a lot more one-on-one time with kids that need it. and we can take time to reach out for more grants or just more opportunities to give these kids. That's where we're struggling. We need funds. Our mission statement: to inspire and empower all you young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as protective. The response, like Karen says, the kids are the building block of this community, and they deserve the best. I think that's enough. I'm a very emotional person, and the club means the world to me. And so, do you have any questions or anything?
As you guys can tell, she's pretty awesome. She didn't give herself enough credit, and her staff, I know she's going to be missing her college students when they leave at the end of the summer. When I see everything the club's been able to do in other facilities, I've had to scale back. I remember when Brandy called me and said, what can we do to get thermometers? Because I think we may need to do daily temperature checks because we're not going to close our doors.
Yeah.
And, just such kudos. I sing their praises every chance I get for the staff. And they're
And you
pretty,
helped us.
they're pretty special. Obviously, I know one good thing that's come out of the funding through COVID is that obviously our budget can sometimes, the county's dollars can sometimes gift funds needed for not-for-profits, but as you probably have heard, then there's some additional funds that may be available as well. I think commissioners are working hard on a plan that we've been able to give input on. Hopefully, we feel like those dollars should help compensate some not-for-profits that have had lost fundraising opportunities, and those were taken from them during COVID, and we know that's had a big impact on bottom line. When a lot of times grants and programming dollars, they don't want you to spend those on bricks and mortar or staffing. Right. They just want it to go for programming dollars, which is great, but the bills still have to be paid.
Yes.
So we're very hopeful. There'll be some more information out soon for some hopefully some additional funds available to local not-for-profits, and we just say keep up the good work for sure, because I'm for sure sing your praises every chance we get.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Jamie Brown from Lifetime Resources.
That's actually my assistant. I'm Erin Thomas. I'm the executive director of Lifetime Resources. I believe you should have a packet there in front of you that Jamie sent out ahead of time. Good. Sorry, you have it. Oh, yep, you do. Okay. Well, I won't read it to you, but I just wanted to give you sort of an overview. I'm sure most of you are familiar with who we are, but we are the Area Agency on Aging. We're one of 15 organizations that cover the entire state, and we cover 5 counties here in southeastern Indiana, including Jefferson, obviously. And we provide a variety of services with the main goal of helping people maintain their independence for as long as possible in their home where they prefer to be, and what is far more cost effective as well. So you can see from the letter there that the average care plan cost for people on in-home services is $365 in comparison to an average month at the nursing home at nearly $8,000. And so what we do is we really sort of address the social determinants of health, such as the things outside of just medical needs that people need. We do home delivered meals because people need to make sure that they get a good meal. We do homemaking services to make sure that they can stay clean and safe. There are aid services. There are all of these different things that we can help them access and coordinate their care. So you can see there, sort of the second page of your packet there is a list of all the services that we provided in 2021. So you can see just over 1,000 residents served. So aside from the sort of, we offer information assistance, we go out, we do options counseling with these individuals to really see what's going on in their situation and talk through with them all the options that they do have. And then we work with them and make sure that we put a plan in place that they choose, because we want them to really buy into their own care and want to do well and be successful. And then, if somebody needs funded services, because some people have their own funds just to pay for their own in-home services, and that's great. But others need our limited pot of funds. So we're always doing everything that we can to make sure that we left our funds for those in the greatest need and really sort of tapped into every other possible resource before we utilize our funds. And we're pretty successful in doing that. We're one of the only area agencies on aging in the state that does not have a wait list for services. And we really sort of pride ourselves in being able to manage those funds well and make sure that they get to those in the greatest need. Aside from sort of the home and community care side of the business, we also have a congregate meals. We offer congregate meals, and I'll talk about what's going on here in this area here in just a minute. And we also offer public transportation, which is Catch a Ride. And all of those services have different grants that are serving them, and those grants not all, some of them, most have matching requirements anywhere from 15% to 100%. Catch a Ride being the largest, most expensive program is 1-to-1 match. And so I'm here today requesting $15,000. As you can see from the pie chart on that second page, we're bringing about $1.2 million worth of service to this county. So that $15,000 request only represents about 1.2% of our budget. So we do everything that we can to bring in as many external sources of funding as possible. With Catch a Ride, for example, we have every contract we can possibly get with managed care, Medicaid, Medicare, all those things to try to bring in more service and also offer the individuals the opportunity to pay for that transportation through whatever insurance means they may have as well. Let's see, a little bit about, through COVID, I think it really highlighted the need for our services because obviously you saw what happened to individuals who were in nursing facilities and it was kind of scary times. So I think while it's always been important to try to keep people in their homes, what we do has really been highlighted throughout COVID. On top of that, though, we do have a rapidly aging population, so the need for our services is just naturally increasing as well. And people are wanting to stay in their homes for longer and longer. And, we surveyed people in 2021, and it was an overwhelming majority wanted to stay in their homes in their 80s into their 90s. And, it's organizations like us that make that possible. I want to talk a little bit about our SNAC, or our Senior Nutrition Activity Center, which is the congregate meal site. That is one of the services that we had to close down during COVID. That was dictated by the state because obviously that's the most at-risk population, and they were congregating. That's specifically what they didn't want them to do. So while that was happening, we transitioned those individuals who needed meals. We're getting home delivered meals instead, and then we also our SNAC directors were reaching out to those individuals on a weekly basis to make sure that they were still getting the socialization, which is honestly the really important thing about those congregate meal sites. And as soon as we got the okay, we were quick to reopen those sites, and they've been reopened now for a while. What happened here in Jefferson County, though, is that at the senior center here, it didn't open right when the others had opened because it was being used for COVID vaccinations. Testing, sorry. And so it didn't open quite as early as the others did. And then once it did reopen, we weren't able to get the same hot meal provider. We had previously done contracts with the nursing facilities, and they still weren't able to take on that extra work and or let people in their building, things like that. So we've been trying really, really hard, but we've not been able to find a hot meal provider. So the individuals at the site just sort of started arranging between themselves to bring in food, and they sort of enjoyed doing it. And so we've made the decision not to push anything on them at the moment. We are offering frozen meals, which we've transitioned all of our other sites to, and surprisingly, they really like them. But the seniors here didn't want any part of it. They wouldn't even try it. They tried to turn our delivery guy away because we were trying to kind of sneak some in there and say, just give it a try. They weren't having any part of it. So we are not offering a congregate meal site at this very moment. However, we have just recently spoken with Heritage Apartments, and we may be starting up a new site there. So we are still working to do something here in the area. So I just wanted to let you all know that, but we kind of felt like if they don't need it or want it and they enjoy what they're doing, then I'm not going to push it on them. The congregate meal site, though, I just want you to know that a very, very, very small percentage of what funds we need would actually go to that program. It's one of the programs that only requires 15% match. It's a very, very small program. Some of that match comes from state funds. I mean, if we're talking very small amount that would have gone to that particular service. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that in case you had heard any of that or had any questions or anything. The other program that was most highly impacted was Catch a Ride. Not last year, I was very, very early on in COVID. It was, you know, when people really weren't sure what to do and it was kind of like shut everything down, you know. There was a very, very short period of time where we limited trips to essential services like going to the doctor and things like that. Ever since though, we've been open for business. We have just been following precautions, so we've been screening people before they board. We've been requiring masks. We required social distancing until April of this year. We are no longer requiring social distancing. That was really killing us because we couldn't fill seats. And so on top of, we've really been struggling with a driver shortage. It's just been really, really tough to find drivers. Then not being able to fill seats was just making that, you know, it was like a double-edged sword. So we are now open. We've hired a few drivers recently, but things are starting to turn around. But if you know of anybody, please send them my way. But on the flip side of that, while we haven't been doing as many trips, gas prices have been through the roof. So you know, we've just had expenses through the roof, specifically because of gas, even though we've been doing less miles and less trips. Do you all have any questions for me at all?
No.
Very familiar for your services. Greatly appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. All right, well, we appreciate all the support you've offered and appreciate your consideration for funding for this upcoming year.
I had asked this once before, and I just happened to glance, when I read through this earlier, I forgot to look at your list of board members. And not that I know everybody that lives in Jefferson County, but I know a lot of people, and I don't recognize a single name. Obviously, you provide services for multiple counties. I assume we have a couple people from Jefferson County represented
So we
on your board?
serve 5 counties, and there's 2 reps from every single county. Frieda Rickerson is one from this county, and who's the other person from Jefferson? We have 2 representatives from Jefferson County, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Susan Walker.
Adam, you're up.
No.
Thank you. I apologize for being late, coming in from Cincinnati. Heather White wanted to be here today, but had, I think, her daughter's kindergarten orientation. So she didn't want to miss that, which I certainly understand. My name is Susan Walker. I work for USI in Cincinnati. We are the insurance broker for Jefferson County, and our role for Jefferson County is to act as the middleman between the insurance companies and Jefferson County in finding the best employee benefit coverage at the lowest cost that will meet the employee's needs. So we've successfully had a program in place called True Cost for the last 5 years. We've continued to renew it. It's self-funded. It continues to work pretty aggressively in cutting costs with a direct provider contract with King's Daughters Hospitals. Seems to be meeting the employee's needs. Every year about this time, once we have the June claim experience, our underwriters, our internal USI underwriters, put together what we call a mid-year projection. And what we do is look at the last 2 years of claim history and predict what it is that's going to happen in terms of your costs as of January 1, 2023. So we wanted to give this to you for budgeting purposes so that you could take a look at that. And I have a schedule I'll pass out. It's generating an increase of 10% on the medical, which is about $160,000. And I looked at claims through July, and we're running at 98% of expected claims. So we're almost right on where the expected claims projection is, and continue to be running close to that. But we do feel like there's probably going to be an increase in activity of about 10%. Some things that's generated some fluctuation in claims is, I think everybody knows King's Daughters had an issue with getting billings out due to IT issues, and I think they were kind enough to warn most employers, listen, you're going to see some claims come through that are a little bit later than usual and probably heavier than you're typically used to seeing. But I think we're through the majority of that because we're seeing that level off now and the claims subsiding. So with that 10% increase, or $160,000, I believe last year there was not an increase to the budget. I believe that the employee dollar amount was $9,000 and has been $9,000 for the last 2 years. And with this additional increase, Heather was hoping that we could get approved $11,000 per employee, which then she'll go back and juggle appropriately to even out a greater percentage for family coverage versus single. That's really where the issue is right now we have the coverage adequate in terms of what the employee pays for single, but it's very expensive for them to add their families, their children and spouses. So I believe that's the request from the Benefits Committee. One other thing we are doing is we are marketing the plan to other carriers to get self-funded quotes to see if there's anybody more competitive. So on the surface, it's all the household names you know, Humana, Anthem, United Healthcare, possibly Cigna, possibly Aetna. And then we'll market the reinsurance to 8 other carriers as well, that stop-loss coverage that we have, to see if we can come up with anything more competitive than true cost with custom designed benefits. Any questions for me? Did I miss anything, Bobby?
I'd love to see the past 2 to 3 years of claims, costs, broken out by year so we can see how that's trending. Obviously, we hear how it's trending here, but it'd be nice to be able to see that, what our actual expenses are, what's being paid out by the carrier, and what's being paid out by the county.
So Chris, we will have that for you through the month of July in the next week. It'll send you through June. Now, what it will tell you is exactly what's coming out in terms of claims, administrative fees, prescriptions, medical, and then reinsurance or stop loss. And then what we can do is then tie that back to the $9,000 per employee per month, or I'm sorry, $9,000 per employee per year that the county is matching. But we do that every month. It's called a financial management report, and every month we present that to the Benefits Committee, and we can keep you updated on those periodically. If you want to see them quarterly or monthly, is fine.
I think it'd be good for the council to see those quarterly.
I was gonna say, I can share the most recent one that I have with the council, but
That's probably,
July is not out yet, is that correct?
right, July, I did get it as of today, because I asked to see how we were running, and we were running at 98%. So it'll probably just take a few days to get that put into our system and send that back out for you.
So you would have the one that would be through June?
Yes, and knowing that this will
Yeah.
come soon, if you could send that to me as soon as you have it, then.
Right, can we send it to you and then you can disperse it? Okay, I think that's what's typically happening anyway. Okay, good. Any other questions for me?
Is there a particular thing, I mean, that you're saying we're gonna need more per person? Is it because that there's been a lot more surgeries, a lot more, that type of thing, or can you tell us that? I mean, you're not naming names, I don't want you to do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But you
No.
know anything, what's really been,
There have
I get
been a few isolated circumstances of large claim activity, but we typically disregard anything above $120,000 because we have reinsurance that picks up and takes that risk away from the county. But really, I would say in general, it's medical trend, and that's in the projection I'll pass out with you, that we're using about an 8% medical trend and about an 8% pharmacy trend. And what that means is a claim today is going to cost 8% more 12 months from today, just due to medical inflation.
so that's a prediction that in 12 months it'll be 8% higher?
Yes, yes. Any other questions for me?
I don't have any.
I don't have it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'll send these around, and if you have questions about the projections, please let me know. And I can get that answered for you. Thank you. See ya.
Adam
Yes,
from
thank
the
you.
railroad.
Bye, thanks for having me. I'm sorry, you can have your chair back. Thank you.
Appreciate it, no problem. That can be small.
Yeah. Thanks.
Up in here. He was in the meeting, I guess.
Okay, Adam from the railroad next.
Hello, thank you very much for having me. I didn't come with handouts or a presentation, more or less just to introduce myself. Kind of an update on the Madison Railroad and the City of Madison Port Authority, what we're doing. There's been a lot of changes going on recently, and I would like to share all that, a lot of successes as well. A little about me, I'm Adam Robillard, I'm General Manager here at the Madison Railroad. I've been railroading since 2007, and I've been in Madison now for 2 years. I kind of took over the place for Kathy Hale, who retired here at the first of the year. But other than that, still trying to get my feet wet. Well, still getting my feet wet throughout a lot of growth that we're having, a lot of successes. The Madison Railroad Port Authority is now about to turn 45. Back in 1978, the railroad industry was in a state of bankruptcy, collapse, and restructuring and downsizing. Now, 45 years later, it's a growth industry. It's a very competitive industry, and the Madison Railroad has changed a lot in that process. Some of the things we're working on now, we just completed our Grand Creek Bridge reconstruction project in just north of Vernon, in DuPont. And that was a $6 million bridge, which looks like we're going to come in under about $1 million under budget on this project. Thanks to Kathy Hale and the previous board of directors and their actions that they took during the pandemic. But with that really changed the dynamic of the railroad and what we're capable of. As of this year, we're transitioning into high-capacity car loading. We're doing 110-pound rail cars, which is now the industry standard, something we weren't able to do before, and Jefferson County was unable to take advantage of. We are now a hazmat carrier. We are a 10-mile-an-hour railroad, and we are financially in a really good position to really pivot from a stance of preservation to growth. So what we've been doing recently, within the last year, we've reformed our board of directors from a 9-member board of directors to 7, streamlined that with the city council. In addition to that, we included a part of the ordinance which allows 2 members from outside the city in Jefferson County to be an active member of the board. And in addition to that, we've also included an advisory position from Jennings County. So the first time in the Port Authority's history, we're acting less as a city-operated entity and more as a conduit connecting all of the entities we operate through. Which, for those who don't know, we operate from North Vernon down here to Madison. We go through Vernon, North Vernon, DuPont, Madison, Jennings, and Jefferson County. The things we've been focused on are modernizing our structure to allow us to compete with our neighbors. Those neighbors are River Ridge, the Louisville area, the I-65 corridor, Indianapolis. Back in 1978, the railroads that operated in those territories were in the same condition as we are. They were on the verge of abandonment and being torn out. These days, those railroads are thriving as private entities. Something that we're proud to have to be. We have to change to be able to compete with those folks, which is what we're doing. So we're in line now to have the best financial year the railroads ever had. Our costs are way down, our revenues are way up. And with that, we've been branching out from these projects over the years to get us where we're at, to finally taking advantage of that. Some of the things we're working on, just yesterday we closed on a 22-acre purchase here in the city of Madison to create a transload facility. And what this does is this is a all-use facility to convert freight from truck to train. These facilities are common elsewhere. A lot of times they are operated and maintained by the railroads. And we're doing this in anticipation of growth. We've had to turn down a lot of business in the city here in Madison because of our inability to operate heavy trains, hazmat, some of these other things. All of those are now boxes that are checked, and now we're positioning to growth and development. We're working one-on-one with Jennings County and of course the city here in Madison to focus our resources and our direction into what the next phases look like. Things we're looking at now, of course, are going to do this transload facility, but also we're looking at greenfield development opportunities. Some of those things we're really focused on are small, medium-sized facilities, mostly onshoring types of facilities, and also working with the state level for larger mega site type of projects. We are well positioned with our other railroad partners to provide a service a lot of places can't. We have competitive advantage. We not only own the railroad collectively, but we also operate the railroad. We own the highway and we operate the trucking line. We own the airport and we operate the airline. So the Madison Railroad owns the railroad and operates that, and that allows a lot of efficiencies, gives us a competitive advantage from all of our surrounding neighbors. Something we really want to exploit, and we want to do it collectively. So we're focused on looking to see where those projects are. The projects that we're aiming to develop are these 50 to 100 acre sites, and those are well positioned for the 15 to 25, $50 million investment projects. Those are most common in our area. That's what we're competitively positioned to go after, and those are the types of things we're focused on. So to get there, we're working through a process now of identifying sites, making the sites as good as we possibly can, and that's through environmental review ahead of time, making them shovel ready, and then providing opportunities financially to incentivize projects to come here. We are collectively at a disadvantage with our highway access, but we make up for that in other categories, which are our ability and our desire to aggressively operate alongside in partnership with these folks. Not being a private entity allows us kind of an advantage to incentivize more people to come here. Usually a single railroad, sole railroad provider is frowned upon, but with the city and our focus on development and growth in our area and less on profits and return on investment, it's actually made us a very attractive prospect. So, we're looking at a whole lot of things right now. The railroad's going through a whole ton of change. In 45 years, we've gotten bigger, and with that, we've changed drastically. With growth comes change, and there's been a lot of that, and a lot of that coming down the line. So, I'm here as a representative of an economic development entity, more or less, than anything else at this point. Combining all the resources of the state, the counties, the cities, EDAs, into creating projects that will benefit us all. So our goal, our strategy is to bring jobs to the area, make our area more attractive, more competitive with some of the surrounding communities, and I think we have a lot of tools in our toolbox to make that happen. So I'm just here for that purpose. I'm not asking for money, but to be a resource and support for you. Do you have any questions?
Where, the 22-acre site that you purchased just recently here in Madison, in the Madison area, where was that at?
It's on Industrial Drive,
Oh, okay,
between
all right.
Wilson Avenue, Industrial Drive, and the railroad. It was actually railroad owned in 1978, and right before we took the railroad over, it was sold out from under us, and we ended up buying it back. So we've actually bought our own property back at 200
Okay.
times the 1970 value, but it is what it is.
Adam, have you been able to, or have you started the process of trying to check with local manufacturing companies and what you could ship or ship in or take out for them?
Absolutely. We've actually made a lot of progress in that respect this year. We just created a partnership, a strategic partnership with a group called Road and Rail. And they're a provider of a lot of different railroad services. They do mechanical services on rail cars, locomotives, and also do transloading. They operate sites in Louisville and on the eastern half of the U.S. with a whole slew of other railroads. They decided Madison was a good place to invest, and in March they set up a shop here in cooperation with us, and they've now hired 6. They're looking to hire 12 and create a huge investment here. All of this commotion plus the 22-acre transload site has actually garnered the attention of quite a few folks. So we're in talks right now with about half a dozen local businesses to do just that. We had been doing that previously, but with no resources, facilities to actually make it happen. What we also been doing is working with our railroad partners, CSX, which is one of the largest railroads that operates east of the Mississippi River. They typically land these regional projects. And one of the new campaigns we're kind of going down is we're working with them to help them drive business to us. So CSX, they're the ones who deal directly with Dow Chemicals of the world, the Exxons, the steel manufacturers. And a lot of times they'll come to them and say, hey, we have a need in this area, can you help us out? And a lot of times the big customers, they're going to go after themselves. But the smaller customers, by small we're talking $50 to $100 million projects, are small compared to that. By creating a partnership with them, and showing that we have an enthusiasm for growth and cooperation, they're going to push those toward us. To get to that point, we've had to check off these boxes. We've had to improve our communication, improve our software, improve modernize the way we do business. We need to select sites to be able to market. Those sites need to be shovel ready for construction and within 6 months and operation within 24 months. All of these things have to happen, and those are happening now. So we're talking to local groups and businesses about getting conversion to rail, and we're also talking to regional groups about this becoming a regional hub for commerce instead of just a local hub. Yeah. So the opportunities we've had to pass on have actually been opportunities going to south of Louisville, north of Cincinnati, Middletown, Ohio, because of our lack of land. But yeah, it's been very popular. I just had a meeting with a potential customer today. I have another one toward the end of the week and another one next week. So the business is there. It's just how we capture it. That's what the question mark is now at this point. So it's exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll stick around in case there's anything else that comes up. I like talking about railroading, so.
Do you mind if you and I talk after this meeting? Sure. Thank you. Okay,
I don't have anything more to say. There it is. We are going to meet with Army representatives and Air Force representatives and what's Fish DNR out of the proving grounds. Just to have some discussion. We'd like to have Adam involved in those discussions just to see how we could put together a study that's going to go somewhere. I mean, he's obviously got some things already going, but trying to maybe spread out a little bit, get some others involved. We're still in defining the scope stage, so we haven't set, while that proposal's out there, it's not it's not gonna be based on things that can't happen, that'd be silly to spend money on. So that's what we're trying to do right now, is to get that scope narrowed down. And, obviously, Adam is a big, Madison Railroad, he'll be a part of it too. But at Madison Railroad is gonna be a big part of that, how we can, maybe help some of his efforts that are going on, maybe find some that, you know, I mean, haven't been thought of yet, so.
Alrighty,
That's all I want.
so we should table the,
I'm still in touch with the RDA. Talked to them on Friday. They're still wrangling with funding on how some of these other projects, they've kind of, the smaller ones that they've added in the end, they're still trying to get some things worked out there, but there still is a possibility that some funding will be available for us. I just keep touching base with them to let them know we're still interested. So, but we'll see how that continues to pan out. So, once we get the scope down, then we can get a dollar figure down, and then we can talk with some numbers rather than just some maybes.
so do we have a motion to table the economic development portion for another month?
Motion to table that.
All in favor?
In favor.
Well, anything from the audience?
Is this the first ever that
That
we
we haven't had
have
any
no transfers or
Transfer,
additions?
I don't think so.
It's been a very long time since.
Yeah.
But it's probably about this
We're
time.
None?
I don't know if we've ever had one.
Well,
I don't
Councilman
think
Black, do you have a motion?
Motion
Wait,
to adjourn.
We want to bring up the maintenance about the jail, saying it's gonna have to be advertised and so forth. So we maybe withdraw that, or else, oh, you had let go at whole month.
Sorry, Ray.
I'll withdraw.
Yeah.
Animal shelter?
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Did-
You were gonna mention something, never mind.
The one that we talked about for a jail maintenance person that we probably will need to have, that, you know, we talked about that.
But we didn't get any numbers. so
We didn't
don't
get any
know.
numbers, but we've got to bring it up to discuss it, to
Oh,
allow her
yes.
to advertise when she gets the numbers, you know?
Yes.
So we can vote on
probably
it
should.
next, so if we can vote on it in the September meeting, so they can start in October, in other words. So, when we're working with budget, we talked about that we'll need a new, would be called.
Facilities
Facility
maintenance.
A facility maintenance, person for the jail, the new jail and everything, and we need to get someone on board, possibly October, November, and December, and then be a full-time person from then on, and everything.
So do you want to motion that?
I want to put that into a motion that we need to, get that, figure out what it's gonna cost us and everything, and then once we do have that, then you will be able to advertise that amount for the September meeting.
All in favor?
Motion to adjourn.
Sorry, Ray.
Right back on it.
I just thought we better bring it
All in
up so
favor?
we could hit it.
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.